Hello everyone and welcome to Joe Cool Productions. I am your host Joe Cool. Thank you for tuning in. As always, please hit that subscribe button so that you can be notified every time I upload a video, okay? So hip-hop has been around for almost 50 years and a lot has happened since its birth in 1973. Many legends were made, a lot of great music was created, and a lot of defining moments have changed the landscape of music forever. Yet there are still a lot of unsolved mysteries within hip-hop that will forever leave us wondering what if. So today we're going to count down the top 10 what ifs in hip-hop. As always, please leave a like and a comment letting us know what you think of the list, and also let us know which hip-hop what-if moments would you like to see in our part 2 video releasing later this year, okay? So without further ado, let's get started. For our first what if, we asked, what if the DOC never lost his voice? We all know the DOC is one of the lyrical standouts from the group NWA. He's written hit after hit for various hip-hop artists and even has a few hits himself under his belt as a solo act. But shortly after releasing his first studio album, No One Can Do It Better, the DOC was involved in an almost fatal car accident, falling asleep at the wheel and crashing into a tree. Though he did not lose his life in the accident, he did unfortunately lose his voice as a result.
Maybe about 6 months after I had a car accident. You know, doing stuff I didn't have no business doing, you know what I mean? And it altered my voice. It gave me this new voice. And it kind of slowed down my rap career, so to speak, because I used to rap with the fire, you know, I had to...
This was a big hinder on his rap career, forcing him to step away from the mic and taking away all of the momentum that he had from the success of his first album. A lot of people feel that he could have been one of, if not the best rapper to come out of the West Coast if his vocal cords were never damaged. Unfortunately, we will never know. Number 2, what if Ceelo Green joined Outcast? Back in the early days of the Dungeon family, it was a known fact that Ceelo was supposed to be the third addition to Outcast. Why did it never work out, you ask? Big Boy simply explained in an interview with Jack Thriller a couple of years ago that over time, him and 3 Stacks just developed better chemistry the more they hung out with each other.
I heard that Ceelo was about to be part of Outcast before he was with Good and Mob. Is that true?
Yeah, kind of, sort of. Like, he was, you know, hanging out with Ceelo. Mudra and Ceelo go way back, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I mean, kind of, you know, for a brief minute. We would see Ceelo sometimes, but, like, not all the time like that. Me and Dre was together day in, day out, you know?
But what if Ceelo Green actually went ahead and joined Outkast back then? Will we have albums full of tracks like In Due Time or Get Up, Get Out? Will Goody Mob still be as impactful as they were? And I won't even start on their wardrobe. They probably would have changed hip-hop fashion forever. But hey, I guess we can only imagine. Speaking of the Dungeon family, one of the biggest what ifs we often ask is what if Andre 3000 released a solo project? Andre is stern on his decision to not release a solo project, as he often reminds us that he never wanted to be one of those rappers still rapping at the age of 40. But what Andre doesn't realize is most hip-hop fans will love an album from him at 40-something. His past couple of features only prove that he's gotten better with time. Hopefully 3K is just bluffing about the whole never release a music thing and he'll surprise us with an album one day. At number 4, what if Lauryn Hill never quit music? Lauryn Hill is arguably the greatest lady hip-hop artist of all time. After she released her legendary solo debut album, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, it seemed like she was on top of the world. We are all ready for her to release her sophomore album, but it seemed the pressure of fame was too much for her and she went into hiding. Though she did release an album version of her MTV Unplugged, an album that a lot of people often described as a public mental breakdown, we can only wonder how big she truly would have been if she dropped a second studio album while she still had momentum from her first album. I personally think she would have been not only the greatest lady hip-hop artist ever, but the greatest lady artist, period. What do y'all think? Number 5 is probably the most obvious what if on this list. What if Tupac never died? Tupac was the face of hip-hop before his death in '96. Not only that, but he was gaining quite the reputation in Hollywood as well. If he were to have never been killed, how big of a hip-hop artist do you think he would have became? Do you think he would have became an Oscar-nominated actor? One thing I often wonder about Pac would be how he would have been received on social media. People are so easily offended these days. Do you think Pac would have eventually tweeted something that would have gotten him in trouble with the court of public opinion? And what kind of influence do you think Pac would have had on the Black Lives Matter movement? We all know Pac wouldn't be too happy about all the unarmed black men being killed by the police. The thing I look forward to the most, though, is Pac collaborating with artists that emerged after his death. I guess those are some fire tracks that we will not get a chance to hear. At number 6, what if Kanye West never won that Grammy in 2005 for College Dropout?
I guess we'll never know.
Trust me, that would have been the rant of the century. Number 7, what if Biggie never died? New York was at the forefront of hip-hop at the time of Biggie's reign, and he was definitely running the show. He was only 24 when he died in 1997 with only 2 incredible albums under his belt. If Biggie were to continue living, how would that affect the whole King of New York argument and the success of artists like Jay-Z and Nas? The competition would have definitely been stiff. Plus, I'm sure his inner businessman would have emerged eventually, since his close friends at the time turned out to be 2 of the most successful businessmen hip-hop has ever seen. You are the company you keep, you know. Imagine the Biggie Smalls clothing line for big guys like him. I'm sure it would have been successful. Number 8, what if Lupe Fiasco never beefed with Atlantic Records? There aren't too many artists that gave us back-to-back classic freshman and sophomore albums like Lupe's Food and Liquor and The Cool. But what happened after that? For 3 years after the release of The Cool, Lupe was in a constant dispute with Atlantic Records as they constantly pressured him to sign a 360 deal or else his new music would not be released. With the help of protesting fans, his 3rd album, Lasers, was finally released. Though he was able to release music again, the conflict with Atlantic Records took a toll on his creativity, and the Lupe that we fell in love with on his first 2 albums was nowhere to be found. But what if he never beefed with Atlantic Records and released the type of content that we've known him for? Many people feel that he was on track to be the greatest lyricist of all time. I don't think that's too far-fetched. Next, at number 9, we ask, what if Jay-Z stayed retired? After the completion of the Black Album, Jay-Z was prepared to hang up the mic for good. He released a documentary to show people the final moments of recording his so-called last album and even performed a goodbye concert at Madison Square. Lucky for us, Jay-Z couldn't stay away from the game for too long and released Kingdom Come in 2006. Yet, imagine all of the great content we would have missed out on if he remained retired. No Holy Grail, no Watch the Throne. We wouldn't be able to experience the Grammy-nominated classic 444. To take it a step further, Jay-Z was initially supposed to retire after the release of Reasonable Doubt, his very first studio album. Him staying retired after his first album is like not having Jay-Z at all. No Blueprint, no Jay-Z and Nas beef, possibly no Jay-Z Beyonce power couple, and we might not even have Kanye West. And that's just to name a few things. We're glad Jay-Z always manages to make his way back to the booth. For our last what if, we asked, what if Lil Wayne actually signed with Jay-Z? On multiple occasions, Lil Wayne announced that he was signed to Jay-Z, but either the claims were misunderstood or never true at all. Signing to Jay-Z may have meant we would have finally gotten the Carter 5 album a lot sooner. And I'm sure that would have meant a lot more Jay-Z Lil Wayne collaborations. I can see a collab album with the play on the name Carter as a title. Maybe that's a what if that we'll actually get a chance to see in the near future. So there you have it. That is our top 10 hip-hop what-ifs. Don't forget to comment and make suggestions for our part 2 video. And most importantly, for more content like this, don't forget to subscribe. Till next time.